When you work in education leadership, you don't get off at 5 o'clock. Your mind is always on the clock, thinking of ways to solve problems for your students, parents, and teachers. On the Clock is your go-to podcast to learn valuable insights from education leaders across the United States. I'm your host, Todd Dallas Lamb, former White House appointee to the U.S. Department of Education, and we are now on the clock.
Welcome back to On the Clock. I am your host, Todd Dallas Lamb. I am taping this show this week from the Excel in Education Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. 1 year ago, I was doing this very same thing, podcasting like crazy in a very crowded hotel area. And a young 6'2" ball of energy walks up to me and says, I want you to interview me, which was kind of unusual because usually we do the request, we reach out to superintendents or chief academic officers or education leaders around the country and interview them about what's going on in their district. And I was ashamed in that moment to admit that I'd never interviewed an honest-to-God actual teacher. And Sylvie Brounstein was our very first interview that actually is a person in the classroom. And I would add that her energy, enthusiasm, love of what she was doing in Miami was so powerful in an age in which we are losing teachers. There's a teacher shortage, and you, Sylvie, really blew us away. And I've had so many people over the last year tell me about that interview with you and how it inspired them. Thank you for coming back. You can come back as long as you'd like to On the Clock. And thank you for being back. It's great to see you again.
Thank you so much, Todd. I'm happy to be here. You have a great platform, and I think it's important for people, whether you are a teacher or you are a superintendent, to be able to share your voice because everyone has something to say. And thank you for giving me that opportunity and everyone who you've been interviewing.
What are you doing now? You were teaching in Miami last we spoke. Mm-hmm. Social emotional learning was a big thing for you.
That's my thing. That's my jam.
That's your jam.
It's my jam. I love it.
What are you doing now?
So I was working in the public schools at Frederick Douglass Elementary when we last spoke, and now I am at St. Philip's Episcopal School. It's a private school in Coral Gables in Miami, and I could not be happier. I'm the first grade teacher, and I'm also co-leading Second Step, which is a social emotional learning program. So I'm learning so much about how to teach kids, how to build their self-confidence, implementing that, training teachers, and it's a lot of fun. I am so happy with my decision to be at this school, and I'm very grateful for everything I'm learning.
You mentioned one word that really sticks out to me now, which is confidence.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a journalism camp in 11th grade at Stanford University, which is my parents had seen as many green men from Mars as they had Stanford University, right? And it was a big deal for me. And to be able to engage with other students, it gave me an unbelievable level of confidence at kind of a late stage. I wasn't really sure where I was going in life in 11th grade. Tell me about what confidence means to you in the classroom. And I would imagine that confidence, it really builds on itself.
Absolutely.
If you have trouble reading, you really are you're facing a really uphill climb in building educational confidence, aren't you?
Yeah, so self-confidence is huge. I believe that I really even know adults today who are not very confident. So I want to instill that in children so they can grow up and they can be confident. They can even share these tools with their families. So we're all confident people. So to me, confidence is believing that you can. Believing that anything you set your mind to, you can do. And we do that through language, growth mindset. So anyone, whether you are, working in policy, strategy, you're at Strategist, you are in the classroom, you're a superintendent, have that growth mindset for yourself, right? There's no limit. Whatever you set your mind to, you can do. And with the first graders, when they're struggling to read and they need a little bit more help, it's not, I can't do this. It's, how can you maybe encourage yourself and put your shoulders back, sit in a scholar position, because our brain understands our body language and knows when we're sitting up nice and tall, our eyes are focused, we are ready to learn. So putting yourself in a physical and then mental state, that's where you see those learning gains happen because the kids are ready to go. They're ready to learn.
Do you talk to the students like that? Do you say, this is how we're going to sit up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Do they love it?
They love it. And it's so cute. And even in the hallway, the way we walk in line, our shoulders are back, our chin is up, and we have pride because we need to be confident in who we are. And as an adult, people say, fake it till you make it, right? But if you learn this at a young age, you don't need to fake it. You truly are confident. And you can do this with little things. You don't need to say, read a whole book.
Yep.
If you do it, you're great, right? How about, can you read me this sentence? I'm listening for you to decode those words, and I'm listening for you to read with fluency. And start with baby steps, and then say, I really liked how you read that. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for using your finger. How about we try one paragraph? I invite you to try that. I challenge you. And it's all about the lingo and the language with kids, speaking to them in a responsive way that they can digest.
I work with a company that is all about decodables.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they've found in the last 2 years as they've grown and succeeded is not only the magic that happens when you teach a kid to decode a word,
Yep.
but they're sending these books home, and the parents, in many cases, illiteracy is genetic in many cases. So if a kid has trouble reading, it's very likely that their parents weren't very good readers either. They maybe even didn't even read to them. This company is finding that their decodable books are helping parents learn to read. Is that crazy? Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I've always heard the story of the kids who, my mom used to tell this story. My mom taught for 42 years.
Yeah.
And there were kids that didn't get read to when they were 2 and 3 years old. And so they didn't even know where the finger was supposed to start and end to read a sentence. That is a real challenge, I would imagine, for a teacher like you. I'm guessing in Miami, you were meeting some young students that had no concept of how reading even starts.
Yes, I've seen that. And at my previous school, it was a Title I school. So the kids, the majority, were not getting read to because, like you're saying, some of their parents were illiterate. So we wanted to give the students the success and them the tools to learn how to read and then bring this home. And in my previous school, I would always make an effort to do a read aloud. Hopefully daily was my goal. And whether it was during snack time or during pack up or clean up, we would just know Miss B was reading us a story today. Yep. At the private school, we're using Amplify ShoutOut. They're one of the sponsors here today. And their curriculum, It's the best. It's the best that I've worked with because it combines the skills of reading and the sounds and sounding that out with knowledge. So every day in the curriculum, it provides us a story to read to the children. And it's about ancient civilizations and Mesopotamia and topics that you wouldn't just hear about in daily conversation, on your way to basketball practice. Yep. But when you get to the ages of assessments, 4th and 5th grade, you are reading these read aloud, or you're reading these texts and having to answer these comprehension questions. And if you've never heard of Mesopotamia, that gives you a disadvantage. So providing students, and I think if we can give this opportunity to all children, whether they're at public school, private school, but for them to get read to, that will really give us a leg up to provide them with that background knowledge.
So Sylvie, I have background knowledge about you. We were comparing notes last year, and we realized that you grew up in a community right next door to one of my best friends in Greenwich, Connecticut. It's fair to say that Greenwich, Connecticut is a very affluent, maybe the most affluent zip code in America. We have a teacher shortage. I don't mean to embarrass you, but how on God's earth do we make more Sylvies that have been given the gift of education, of all the benefits that came your way? How do we get more like you in the classroom? How would you dial that up if you could?
Well, I'm very grateful for where I was raised, and moving to Miami has been different, and I love it. I love the culture, everything about it. I'm very grateful. The number one thing that I love about my new school, St. Philip's Episcopal School, is I feel like I have purpose. Yep. I feel valued. The head of schools, Mrs. Perez, acknowledges everyone as they walk in each morning. She says hello. She asks how you are. We have check-ins weekly. She knows about all of the students. I feel like I have a purpose at the school, and I, am so excited and passionate that I have another opportunity at the school as well to co-lead the social emotional learning program, Second Step. But everyone has another opportunity. Whatever you want to do, you can pursue, whether it's, being a part of the responsive classroom team or helping out with letters, science of reading training, whatever it is, you can thrive. And I wish all people in their place of work could feel that sense of belonging, that sense of purpose. It comes from leadership, right? So to create good leaders, we want to give them the tools.
Yep.
We want to say, when was the last time you've acknowledged someone who works under you?
Right.
Right? When was the last time you acknowledged the custodian, the facilities member? Because at St. Philip's, those people are acknowledged and we love to be there, right? I wake up excited to go to school, excited to go to work because it's a happy place. And, I've been in other places of work before and I just wish all people could have that opportunity. So leaders out there, make your people feel valued and they will stay. Same thing with teachers. Provide them with resources to learn and grow, right? At St. Philip's, we are encouraged to go out and find professional development. You're rewarded for that. You're incentivized. So if we can get teachers and schools, if you're a superintendent, provide those opportunities for your teachers, because when you're learning, you're growing. And no one wants to just be plateaued. Yep. And as a teacher, unfortunately, there isn't much, okay, you're an associate, you're a VP, you're a president, right? There isn't really that stairwell for growth unless you want to go into administration. So if those leaders can provide opportunity for growth, professional development, and a sense of belonging, welcoming, I think we'll have good teachers.
What's next for you? What do you want to do down the road? Do you want to be a district leader? Do you want to run a district? Do you want to go deeper, further, higher in education?
I guess you'll just have to wait and see. So I am doing a few other things in addition to teaching.
Yep.
I am working with Breakthrough Miami still. I've been with them for almost 3 years.
What's that?
Breakthrough Miami is a nonprofit. We call ourselves an opportunity generator, and I have written their social emotional wellness curriculum, and I oversee the implementation. So we have thousands of students who are getting this mental health curriculum on Saturdays during the school year and then daily for 6 weeks over the summer from 4th grade all the way into high school.
And those are public school students predominantly?
Yes.
Okay.
So, we also provide them school opportunities. So when they're in 5th grade, what better magnet, private, charter school can we get you into? 8th grade, we talk again. Hey, here are your school options, right? So thank goodness for Jeb Bush and all of his policies about school choice, because we're giving those tools to the parents and bringing awareness to them, because, these amazing policies are being created, but who's that middleman?
Yep.
Right? So Breakthrough can be that.
I just saw Jeb Bush in the elevator and I saluted him and he saluted me back. I was so fired up. It was awesome.
He's great. He's great.
Sylvie Brounstein, thank you so much. You are welcome. I want to do this every year.
Yeah, let's do it. It should be a yearly thing.
Every single year till the day I croak.
Yeah.
Sylvie Brounstein, thank you for being on the clock. It's now time to go to a reception, and I'm going to let you go do that. My name is Todd Lamb. This has been On the Clock with Sylvie Brounstein. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Until next time.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on your favorite podcast platform. On the Clock is part of the Strategos Podcast Network. To view the entire lineup of shows, please visit us at strategosgroup.com. See you next time.